Good morning. Today we're going to skip over to verse 2 of chapter 2 of the Sefer Yetzirah, the ancient Jewish book of creation, and we're going to discuss its meaning. So let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, looks like we're ready to go. So, Sefer Yetzirah 2.2. And we begin first with the translation from the Hebrew by the late Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan. And then we have my translation. I'm going to change this to my translation. Okay, so up here, 22 foundation letters. He engraved them, he carved them, he permuted them, he weighed them, he transformed them, and with them he depicted all that was formed and all that would be formed. Okay, this is a very standard translation of this verse. However, the Hebrew words have some alternate translations, and I think mine is actually very much better. 22 letters of foundation. It decreed them, shaped them, combined them, weighed them, and exchanged them. And it formed with them all that was formed and all the multiplications to be formed. So, differences in my translation, I used decreed in place of engraved. And remember that ancient times, the decree of the king or the ruler was written in stone. It was engraved. So that's the connection between the two. And I use shaped instead of carved because this refers to the way we start shaping our inspirations in our mind. I use combined instead of permuted. I use weighed and others use weighed. And exchanged rather than transformed is going to be a little bit more descriptive of what's going on. Now, before I go on to the next slide, let me explain that this verse is describing the process of something from nothing creation. The Sefer Yetzirah will very succinctly explain both something from nothing creation and something from something creation. The latter is just permutations of what's already there. It's like taking things in a room in your house and just rearranging it, putting it in different locations. But something from nothing creation is what we partake in whenever we create something new. It begins with will, inspiration. I want to do this. I want to make something. And then we have aha moments as things just pop into our head out of nowhere. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Again, this passage is giving a succinct description of the process of creation from the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Remember that the first step is a decree, an act of will, and this represents something from nothing creation. The second step is shaping, refining our inspiration, and we could call this something from something creation. Next, we combine letters. And remember, too, that letters form words and words create the structure of the reality we see. The third step is called weighing, and this refers to solidifying the characteristics of what we perceive. And the last step is exchanging or transforming. And this can be thought of as taking a successful pattern and using it as a template for another context, within another context. Okay. Shaping can involve a little bit of something from nothing and something from something creation, actually. We're taking something that exists, but we're changing it. We're separating parts of it, moving this around, moving that around. That part is something from something. The inspiration as to what to do, that refers back to the original something from nothing creation. And then we combine letters, and when we get the right combination, often there's another aha moment. This is further revelation of this something from nothing creation. And then weighing is when we make it real. It now exists in physical reality or mentally too, whatever we characterize as our reality. When we weigh it, it exists for us. And then exchanging, what's really going on here is we need to be able to recognize what we've created even when the background changes. And I give an example on the next slide. For example, if you identify yourself as a hardworking individual, then this becomes a template or pattern which can be applied over and over to different situations in your life. Notice also that since the 10 Sefirot correspond to 10 letters of the alphabet, that's going to be the 3 mother letters, Aleph, Mem, Shin, plus the 7 double letters. We'll talk more about that later. Creation via the 22 letters contains within creation through the 10 utterances. Okay. I remember back in the days when I was teaching mathematics in college, at a college. As I got older and as my eyesight worsened, it became harder to recognize students when they weren't sitting right there where they were supposed to be sitting in the classroom. If I saw them standing up or outside of the classroom, without that context, I was not able to often so readily recognize them. I was losing that ability to transfer that knowledge of them from one context to another context. Now, in the Sefer Yetzirah, I've mentioned before this pattern of 3, one thing opposite another, plus an exchange and interchange or interaction between the opposites. That is the basic pattern for creation in Jewish mysticism. And in the Sefer Yetzirah, they're showing how this pattern appears over and over in different contexts. We found it in the first verse where it is characterized by story, number, and communication. That's like right brain, left brain, and communication between the two halves. We have the 3 mother letters representing air, water, and fire. Water and fire being the 2 opposites. When they come together, they produce steam or air. That is the interaction, the interchange between the 2. And later on in the Sefer Yetzirah, we see this appearing again in different contexts, such as in the human body, where it's divided into sort of the top part, the head, which is fire, kind of the electrical fire in the brain, the lungs, which are air, and then the belly with all its fluids, which is water. And those 3 parts work together to produce the life we know. And likewise, later on in the Sefer Yetzirah, it's going to give examples of 7 double letters appearing in different contexts. The 7 seas, 7 here, there, everywhere, 7 stars in the sky, planets that is, that they could see. So the author was aware that these basic principles appear in different contexts, that you could exchange the context, one context for another. Okay. Again, what's described in this verse is the process of something from nothing creation, where we suddenly have a thought, an idea, an inspiration, and we will it into creation. Now, as for the Sefirot, we've seen a few different ways in which those are represented. The 10 Sefirot are the 10 utterances through which God created the universe. They are 3 spatial axes, plus the 6 directions, plus a center point, which creates essentially a cube that we'll call the cube of space, which is a very early geometric model for the universe. And then, as we've seen a little bit already, and as we're going to see more later on when we talk more about the 7 double letters, we saw already how the 3 mother letters, Aleph, Mem, Shin, refer to those 3 spatial axes. And before too long, we're going to see how the 7 double letters correspond to the 6 directions plus the center of that cube of space. So the 3 mother letters plus the 7 double letters, they are also an early representation of the Sefirot, the 10 Sefirot. Okay, now you could ask, what about the remaining, the 12 remaining letters of the Hebrew alphabet? You know, where are they going to be used? What we're going to again see later on is that those letters, they correspond to what we contribute to the creation through our own experiences of things. So in Judaism, it's not just God creates, it's also man, and we are partners in creation. Human beings are partners in creation with the divine. Okay, let's see. I think that's it for this slideshow, so let me stop sharing. And that's it for this presentation. So before I stop the recording, I'll say shalom, peace and wholeness. May you have a good week ahead of you, and may all things be good. So long, and I'll see you next time.